This is the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
The award-winning Lee Pitts Live is brought to you by Hodges University. Build the future you at Hodges University.
Southwest Florida, welcome back to Lee Pitts Live. I know you guys are saying, how does Lee get all of those black ministers to show up for interviews like that? We all go way back and we're all friends, and I try to be involved in the community as much as I can, but I leave it up to the clergy to do their job, and it's up to us to support them in what they're doing. Alexander Fletcher, pastor, a Unity Christian Church, Disciples of Christ, and I go back at least 20 years. Let's bump him in.
Not quite.
You don't think it's 20 because you haven't been in the area that long? That's how you do it?
Right.
19? Okay. Well, come on, man. We can round it off to 20. God, man, let me, got to get it right, though. Disciples of Christ. You've always told me, Lee, make sure you put Disciples of Christ on there. Why is that?
Because there's another Unity church in the area, and we're different churches.
Totally different worship services, totally different everything.
Yes. I have people who come by the church looking for unity. They see the unity and they think that this is the place, but I direct them to Unity Church.
Okay. But that name, Unity Christian Church, is there any reason for that name? Does it mean something unique?
Well, I don't know. It was there when I got there. But I would assume that it's because people come together as a unit and form the church and for their place of worship.
Now, you're right in the heart of what we know as Dunbar community.
Yes.
Predominantly African-American minority community. Are there some unique challenges that you would say, or not even necessarily using the word challenges, what are some of the great things and some of the not so great things about being located in the heart of the black community?
Well, as you know, there's a lot of crime going on in Dunbar, and our being in the center of it, we're affected by it. There are people at the church who lost their loved ones because of the crime that's taking place. And so we're there and we're visible and we minister to the families of people who are involved in the tragedies that take place in the community.
When you talk to people about crime, about what's going on in the community, do you take that message to the pulpit or do you take it to the streets, or a combination?
Mostly in the pulpit.
What do you try to get across?
Well, we try to get across that people ought to teach their children respect for the law, as it used to happen. It used to be that if a kid got in trouble out in the street, it would affect the whole family. And so families had an interest in making sure that their children are decent, obedient, and
didn't bring shame to the family.
And didn't bring shame to the family.
Well, I'm glad you raised that point. Let me cut you off right there because I want to get this in, and then we're back up. Back in the day, of course, we hear these stories about everybody in the community would discipline you, whip anybody anymore. Do you think that has any bearing on where the generations have gone now, that parents can't really whip the kids and next door neighbor can't whip you and the teachers at school can't whip you?
Well, yeah, I think it has a bearing on it. I think that taking away corporal punishment has taken away some of the respect that young people have for their parents, for teachers, and other people
Authority.
in the community. Yes, for authority. And it's a shame because children don't get the corporal punishment at home, and they tell people out in the street, you don't tell me what to do. When it used to be that out in the street, people told you what to do, and if you didn't do it, you got corrected there, and then when you get home, you got it again.
Okay, so I don't foresee that corporal punishment will ever come back. So what does that say about the future of society?
That is a good question. And I don't know what it says about the future of society, but somehow we have to get the young people to learn respect for each other, for themselves, and for the wider community.
When you see younger people attending church, Sunday school, and those types of things, is there a direct correlation that you can draw between children who are in the church and children who are not in the church and how they would grow up and be citizens?
I haven't seen the statistics, but I've heard stories about that where people who attend church are better citizens because they're taught how to respond to other people when they attend Sunday school and church.
One of the best things I think that my mom did was to have us in the church. All of us turned out to be reasonably decent citizens. From your pulpit, when you are ministering around crime, discipline, how are you tying that into the Bible?
Well, the Bible teaches to be aware of the feelings of other people, to not take advantage of other people, how to lift other people up instead of yourself. And they learn that in church. And sometimes, they've learned it, but they go astray and do other things. But it's always in the back of their minds that, they were taught this. And when they get in trouble, and even those who are incarcerated, they remember the lessons that they were taught. And then when things smooth out, then a lot of those people become ministers.
Pastor, I want you to take a look into that camera, take about 30 seconds and talk to the public.
Well, I want everybody to know that things may seem bad and things may get worse, but remember that the battle's not yours, it's the Lord's.
My man, we bumped you out. Thanks for coming out. We'll get you back in the future with your wife.
Thank you.
Stay right there. As the saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like Pastor Alexander Fletcher and all the ministers who were here today on Lee Pitts Live who are doing it. We'll see you next week right here on the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
Lee Pitts Live is a Lee Pitts Enterprise production.